Kalinaw. Today I'll be sharing with you a message entitled Nebuchadnezzar's Insanity and the Lesson of God's Sovereignty. Take note that this message was recorded a few days before the scheduled actual presentation. And I'm Herminio and I will be your speaker in the next 15 minutes. Your journey starts with the life of a king, Nebuchadnezzar. And Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Babylon, one of the greatest king who ruled the earth, and he got proud, later insane, and worshiped God. But not only Nebuchadnezzar, I will also introduce Job, who at some point in his life lived an obedient life, tested and endured, questioned God, and God restored him. Let us try to compare the two men. We have Nebuchadnezzar and Job. Nebuchadnezzar is a pagan king, while Job was a blessed man, a Hebrew believer. The king was proud. In opposite, Job was righteous, humble person. But the similarity between the two is that the king was tested. Job also was tested. Out from these trials that they experienced throughout uh, the moment when God have given them the test, Nebuchadnezzar worshiped God. Job questions God. But at the end, God restored them, and even far greater than what they experienced prior to the test. So the similarities between the two is that they both tested, and at the end, they were both restored by God. So you see, even pagans, as well as a believer like Job, both of them were tested. An indicator that the tests, the trials from God are not just simply to the believers, to the Hebrews, but also to the even to the pagans like Nebuchadnezzar. That's why in Daniel chapter 4 verse 35 Nebuchadnezzar commented that all the peoples of the earth are regarded as nothing. He does as he pleases. He here refers to God. With the powers of heaven and the peoples of the earth, no one can hold back his hand or say to him, "What have you done?" Daniel and Nebuchadnezzar here, Nebuchadnezzar really explains what he experienced from God, that all the people combined, including him, is nothing in God. So meaning the kingship or the lordship of the God of heaven and earth is far greater than anybody else. And this tells us that we are powerless. Even Nebuchadnezzar, the great Nebuchadnezzar, recognizes this fact that he is just so powerless. We and he even emphasized that he cannot even question God of what God has done in his life. He has no right to question. And no one can stop God, whatever God wanted to do in our lives. Now look at this verse from Job. Job said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." You see, God can take, and God can give, can take. God can do anything He wants to do to His people. But still, He must be praised. Job recognizes God's sovereignty and rulership, kingship in his life and in all things by saying that God can do everything, can give anything, can also take away anything. Still, there's praises that needs to be given unto God. So whether you are good or bad, We are nothing. Remember that. We are nothing. Whether we are good or bad, pagan or a believer, a Gentile, Greek, or whatsoever, whether men or women, we are both equal in God's sight, and we are just nothing into His sight. But good, even with that nothingness, God have died on the cross, have saved us on the cross. He gave His only begotten Son. And remember, we are at the hands of God. God does as He pleases because He rules the universe. He also He rules also your life, whatever your status, whoever you are. Remember that. God rules the universe. He rules your life, whatever your status, and whoever you are. Whether you're rich, poor, male, female, or whatever gender you may have, God have ruled into your life, whatever who you are. The universe is in the hands of God, and even the little sinner like me is in His hands. Even the pandemic is at the hands of God. We may question why He allows or even made it for us. Why He made this pandemic for us. Maybe for us to, realize His kingship. Maybe He allows this pandemic or He gave this pandemic to us. In the biblical times, all the catastrophes, all the dangers, all the evils that comes to men, even plagues are, you know, allowed by God, brought by God. Remember, in Egypt, in Sodom, it was made by God, but for some purpose. God looks at in eternity when He does something. So we may question, but He can restore. Remember this. He can restore things. He can make something better, better than we can imagine. So have faith. Have faith, brothers and sisters. God's sovereignty will make us realize three things. Number one, we need to submit to Him because God is the King of the universe, thus demands total submission. Romans 8 verse 28 says, "In all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Paul realizes that, understood that in all things it works for God and according to His purpose for those people who love Him. We have a total submission, knowing that God is the sovereign ruler. He is the King of the universe. He is He is the only one who will be followed in the universe and must be obeyed. Knowing those things, then therefore we must have to rely on Him. We must have total submission. And the next is we can have comfort knowing that God is not like an earthly king. If He is the King of the universe, He's the King in our lives. He's not like an earthly king that could fail. He is a God that could deliver what He wishes. That is God's sovereignty. It's His rulership. Does such knowledge give us comfort that there is nothing that He cannot do for us? Again, such knowledge of comfort gives us an assurance that there is nothing that He cannot do for us. Then the third one, thing that we have to learn in God's sovereignty is that He is the King and the Creator. He is worthy to be praised and be worshipped. Psalms 41, 1 to 2 and Psalms 145, verse 3. It's very clear that He is the Creator of the universe, thus demands worship. During these trying times, sometimes we have to ask, no? During these trying times, are you in doubt or in fear? Sometimes we ask on that aspects in our lives. Remember, during these times, we ask always the question during the pandemic, are we in doubt or in fear? We ask these questions. And many of us may be in doubt. So, brothers and sisters, remember God rules. Remember, He is the King. He cares for you from the cross to His throne. Nebuchadnezzar experienced all of these things. When he was so proud, God made him like an animal. When he crawled on the ground, he realizes that there is something greater than him. And that he started to realize that the God of Daniel is far greater than him. And there's someone that controls things beyond his control. Even he, as the king of Babylon, one of the greatest empire of the universe, of the earth during the time. But still, he realizes that there's something greater than him when he started to crawl on the ground. We will not wait till that happens. Sometimes it takes a pandemic for us to realize that there is some hard things that we could not really solve. There are so many trials that we cannot really solve. There are so many trials that we cannot find solutions, problems that we cannot find solutions. And that would make us think that there is something greater that could do something, a miracle for us. We do not be like Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar's life is like a lesson for us today. A pagan king who will teach us humbleness, who will teach us to recognize that there is something greater and better and far greater than we can imagine. So remember, God rules. He is the king. He cares for you from the cross to his throne. Jesus died for us on the cross. He is a God who can die for us. And in the coming near future, he will be with us right in his throne. So during these trying times, the question is, are you in doubt or in fear? Kill those doubts and fear, because the God of the universe is in control. That is what happens in the life of these two people, a pagan king Nebuchadnezzar and a believer, a Hebrew Job. God is working in their lives in the past. It can also work in our lives today and in the future and towards eternity, when we can see God face to face in his throne, when we will be with each other. That is my hope. Remember Nebuchadnezzar, in his insanity and trials, he found God. We can also find God and encounter God even in the pandemic. There is a better future for us. The pandemic is not the end. The future is that second coming, when God will come and bring us to his throne. When Nebuchadnezzar met God during his time of insanity, during the time when he crawls in the ground, we can also meet God anytime we like, because he is a God that doesn't wait till we get insane, then we can come to him. Good for Nebuchadnezzar. God still be found even at the times when he crawls in the ground, even at the times when he was so insane. But this is what I realized in the life of Nebuchadnezzar, that even insane people still can recognize that there is God. God is the ruler. God is the king. A king who knows who we are, because he once walked with us. He is the Emmanuel. And me, we continually believe in him, even in these trying times. And after all of these sufferings that we've encountered, I believe that there is something better, something greater, that our God, our Lord Jesus Christ, the King of the universe, can provide. Thank you and God bless.